Welcome to Respondus, the Edit Menu tutorial. Okay, let's create a few questions for our test. Give it a title for the question. It doesn't matter what that is. Then the wording of the question. Then we'll add some possible answers. Select the correct answer, which in this case is the hypotenuse. Give it a point value, which we can always edit, by the way. Then there's several ways we could add this. Let's add it to the end of the list. Could have also inserted it into the list somewhere. And now we see that the question is here. We will talk about editing questions a little bit later on in another tutorial. Now let's add a true-false question. Again, we can add a title. It doesn't matter except for organizational purposes what you call that. Then we'll add the question. In this case, we'll say true or false, depending upon the answer. And we can actually give feedback for either of them. Correct if it's right. Again, we could add the point value to this. And this time I'm going to insert it into the list. I'm actually going to insert it at the beginning. Okay, let's create a multiple answers type question. It's very similar to multiple choice, except that it allows more than one correct answer. I'm going to provide 5 answers. Of course, he was not there. Ajax was. Hector fought for the Trojans. Achilles most certainly was there. Antigenes was not, so we're not going to put him in there. We'll give this a total value of 6. And then I'm going to insert this into the form in the second location. Notice you can't add it to the bottom, so it has to be in position 1 or 2. So let's put it in 2. And now you see that it appears in the second location. Now, notice that I gave the multiple answer 6 points. If you want to know how those points break down, if you click on the little preview button next to the question, it'll pull it up and you see the question, who fought at Troy, the different answers, and then here's the feedback. Notice that it breaks it down. Each one of the correct answers gets 1/3 of the points. So that'd be 2 points each if you're thinking about that. Let's go ahead and close that out. Now the last thing I want to look at in this particular tutorial are the test bank network and the copy from another file buttons. I don't really have a test bank that works for this one. All it is that you can search through test banks that are authorized for your particular course, and you can actually pull questions out of that test bank. We can click on it and see. You can search for publishers' banks, and right now what you will notice here is just going to ask me a question and probably ask me to look for particular test banks. This is how you would find questions in those banks. Now, I don't have one right now, but I did want you to see this. So let's go ahead and close this back out. Cancel. And now let's go to copy from another file. If you have other files on hand, you can open them. And what you see are a lot of questions that are in that particular test file. It could be something that you've created before. This is a very handy trick for when you're actually building out a final exam from a number of quizzes. You can open up different quizzes and you can add questions. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to select a few questions here from this test file. Then I'm going to add them to the end of the list. 7 questions were copied and added in. So you can see that those 7 questions have been added into my test. Thank you for viewing the Edit Questions tutorial for Respondus.